Hello everyone, welcome to ScorcherToys@AnyMoon.com's review of Arcadia's premium version Hikaru VF1S with Super Strike parts. This toy was released in May 2017 for 27,864 yen inclusive of tax. I'm saying inclusive of tax because this toy was an Arcadia website exclusive that shipped only to Japanese residents. Today we're going to focus on what makes the premium version different from regular release versions, like the Roy Fokker with Super Strike parts that was released in August 2016 for 21,800 yen, or the regular release of this toy, which was in April 2017, again for 21,800 yen. So what makes the premium version different? First, the box. The regular releases come in flashy boxes that have a flip-top lid and lots of graphics all over them. When you open up the box, you also see glossy cardboard inside. The premium version comes in a black and white box, and once you open it up, there is just a plain cardboard interior with the two trays that hold the toy and the Super Strike parts. Spoiler alert, everything about these toys is exactly the same as the regular releases except for the box and the painted on detail. So in the first tray, you once again get the toy itself. There's a gun. There's Do You Remember Love style fixed posed hands left and right. There's 4 sets of Do You Remember Love style missiles, 4 sets of TV missiles, which are 3 missiles on a tree, a Do You Remember Love style pilot figure, 2 display stand adapters for the Yamato launch arm, but they also work with the Arcadia display stand, and there's a nose cone adapter for the removable nose cone gimmick. In the second tray, you get the strike parts. There's also a second missile boom, so you can convert them to super parts. You have reaction missiles. And then below that tray is the option parts, which consist of side covers, a neck cavity filler, and a neck cavity filler with a pilot seat on it, so you can simulate the pilot coming out in Batroid mode. You may notice that this review is a little dimmer than some of my previous reviews, and the goal there is to not wash out the detail that is present on the premium version with the bright lights that would otherwise be hitting the toy. These toys come with pilot figures. The pilot figure, regardless of whether or not it's premium or regular release, is the same. These pilot figures fit inside the cockpit. The cockpit has an opening canopy. There is no additional detail inside the premium version canopy that you wouldn't find inside the regular release cockpit. So there you go, just the same exact thing there. Also the same are the Do You Remember Love style missiles. No discernible difference between premium and regular release. And the same is also true of the regular TV version missiles. Absolutely no differences between premium and regular release. Now these missiles do have the ability to pop off their tree, which is good for diorama builders. They fit on the hard points that are on the wings, obviously, with a little bit of a twist, which keeps them in place, which obviously is very nice for handling the toy. You don't have missiles popping off. Toys come with guns. Now the guns are your first place where you might notice a difference. There is a yellow warning label on the front of the premium version gun. So there is one little difference. And then obviously once you pull the toy out, you will see many, many, many more differences. What might be most immediately evident to you are all of the no step red warnings. You can actually read no step on them. It's clear. There's this little yellow emblem there. Also 2 very hard to see yellow emblems beyond these stripes. You have no step here, no step in the stripe, some little bit of writing on there. It's not discernible. Then you have another yellow emblem right behind the canopy. Lots of detail up in the front of the plane that wasn't present on the regular releases. Obviously those head lasers shouldn't be slanted upward, but there you go. So yeah, lots of detail there. There's no additional detail in the compressor fan area or on the head, but flipping the toy over, very plain on the regular release. On the premium version, you can see there's writing on the integrated landing gear doors, yellow dots there, yellow dot here. One little bummer, this little light here is still just left plain white, so that's a little bit sad for a premium release. Little writing there, another emblem there. Also not present on the regular release. Moving towards the back, we have the SDF1 and the number on the vertical stabilizer. Neither present on a regular release toy, as well as the Beware of Blast emblem, not on the regular release toy. Again, the number on that fin, no number there. So lots and lots of markings. Underneath, there's also one bit of writing on that front landing gear cover, no writing on the regular release. So there you go. Those are the additional markings on the base toy. Most easily seen in fighter mode with a naked toy. You also get a lot of markings on your Super Strike parts. So let's transform to Batroid mode, put the Super Strike parts on the toy, and take a look at those. Alright, so it'll be easiest to show you the detail on the super parts without actually having them installed just yet. So here is the booster without the armor plates on top of it just yet. And you can see there is the emblem of the pilot in the appropriate color already on there. Here are regular release Super Strike parts. No emblem present, so that's a big step up. There's also, if you can see it, a little Beware of Blast emblem next to this nozzle here, so that's good. Obviously you still have the articulated nozzle that is on all Super Strike parts. Now we have the armors that go on top of these things. They have some little painted on detail too. There's a little writing up towards the front. There's also a little Beware of Blast towards the back there. There's a no step on the front and the back of this piece. Nothing new on that side. This is what it looks like normally. And you can see it's dark color. Not all of the red writing shows up very readily. So the Super Strike parts at times don't seem that different from their regular release cousins. Here is the front micro missile bay cover. Again, there's a little writing there, a little no step there, a little writing there. None of that is present on the regular release version that you see here. Then moving our way down, the leg armor detail, interior detail, exactly the same as a regular release. No changes there. But on top, we do get another one of those little red no steps. So that's the difference there. On the exterior armor itself, there's a little bit of writing here. Indecipherable, just kind of simulated writing. You also have that writing again, and the red arrow for the pilot that matches the pilot figure. On the regular release version, just the big UN Spacey. And that is that. Moving to the arm armors, just a little bit of writing in the middle. And that is it. Same thing on the opposite side. So those are your big differences for the Super Strike parts. Let's put them on the toy. Alright, so regular release, premium release. I missed a little danger emblem that's written in black on the dark blue down here. It's not the most noticeable, but that brings you back to a lot of these little painted on details, like this little yellow arrow here. Not the most noticeable from distance. So it's up to you kind of how much value this is going to add for you. You can see the white lettering bits on the super parts definitely do pop out a lot more than the red lettering bits. You have to be very close up to appreciate those at all. So overall, it does add some pop, it does add some realism, but it's not at all like the Yamato V2 weathering editions, which you could see from a distance had been altered. These toys definitely require a little bit more inspection to get a full appreciation of all the painted on detail. All right, let's check out the Batroid mode without the Super Strike parts to see if they're concealing a little bit of the effect. Here we are in Batroid mode, sans Super Strike parts. There's one more bit of Tampo printed detail I wasn't able to show you in fighter mode. That's that little emblem right there on the backpack. Now, I am assuming that Arcadia did all the research and knows what the canon markings are. If you don't like these markings, I would maybe like some but not others, it's not going to be easy to remove any of these tampo printed markings. And that's one of the things I really appreciate about the premium version versus, say, the Yamato weathering effect toys. I was afraid with the weathering effect that I would scratch it during transformation from one mode to the other. I'm not worried about scratching anything with the premium releases. Speaking of transformation, I have separate transformation guides I encourage you to check out. I also have reviews of the Super Strike parts and obviously reviews of the regular releases where I go through all the articulation and all that good stuff, and I encourage you to check out those videos as well. One little thing I would point out, there's a hook on the back. I don't recommend you ever use it for any of the Arcadia toys. It's completely unnecessary. It gets loose on you if you do use it and then just dangles around in fighter mode. And also it pinches your tail fins so much that you get a little paint flaw. So do not use that hook if you can at all avoid it. All right, let's go ahead and continue on to Gearwalk mode. Here we are in Gearwalk mode, and I've switched to super parts by removing the strike cannon and adding the missile boom instead. The strike cannon, to me, in Gearwalk mode always looks a little silly because I always have it pointing down, and so will you unless you're using a display stand. I mentioned before that there is a nose cone gimmick. This entire nose section can be removed from the toy. You add that adapter and you can attach it to the arm of another toy. I'm not going to go through that here, as I've done that in many other reviews, but something to know. So here you have the Super Strike parts. They look good on the toy in Gearwalk mode. They don't cause any balance issues. One thing I do have a little bit of an issue with is just there's a little wobble to the leg armors. They only connect via the two pegs in the back. There's nothing that connects on the sides, so that can cause a little bit of looseness, but it's not so loose we're just going to knock it off in normal handling. Here we are in Gearwalk mode. Sans Super / Strike parts. I've got the premium version. I've got the regular release Fokker on the right. And you can see both look very well, very good. This toy does very well in Gearwalk mode. It's very solid. It's got the foot articulation you need. If you've seen any of my reviews, you know what I'm saying here. The only thing you don't really get is an antenna that you would get as a V1 add-on part or as an integrated part in the 148 line. You could see the detail when I bring the toys up close. As I bring them further away, the detail becomes less and less evident, and that's something to also consider as far as your display goes. If you are displaying this toy in a cabinet that is a little further removed, then maybe going for the premium version isn't really worth the cost to you, because you're not really going to notice it unless you reach in and pick up the toy. Now, if you obviously have a little bit more immediate access, then the premium version has a little bit more value. Also, obviously, the rarity might just be cool to you to know you own such a rare VF1. All right, let's continue on to fighter mode with the Super Strike parts installed. All right, here we are in Strike Fighter mode, and one more marking that I did not point out previously. There's a little emblem on the back of the leg here. You can see right there that is not present on the regular release. Other areas where there are no differences, the reaction missiles are exactly the same, regular or premium version, as are the landing gear, front and back, no additional detail there. You still get rubber wheels that spin, you could still fit the gun in fighter mode, all good stuff that you would have heard in my normal reviews. And this review is, again, supposed to be focusing on what makes the premium version different from the regular version. Now, I do have a little egg on my face already in that I was like, hey, I like the premium version because tampo markings are less likely to scratch than weathering effects. And if you look at the front of my toy, there is a scratched off emblem right aft of this little circle already. You can see kind of the remains of it. So clearly handling this toy in Batroid mode allowed me to scrape the front of the nose cone somehow, and we do have a little bit of a durability issue there. My toy also has a little bit of a build quality issue. It's not huge, but you can see on this side there's a little bit more of a gap than on this side. I've transformed the toy a couple times now to try to get rid of that. It will not go away. I don't see anything that's really causing the problem. So it's a little unique, but it is there and it does bother me. And if you get a premium version toy, you are even less likely to find anyone that's going to help you with fixing it than you would a regular release toy. So that's something to keep in mind. At the end of the day, the premium versions do cost more than $50, so it's very subjective on if that's going to have the value you desire. Remember, if you're getting a regular release toy, you do get stickers. So if you're someone who has the time and ability, you can definitely sticker up your toy and get a similar effect. Although Arcadia did do some promo pictures that show that the painted on detail tends to be sharper than the stickers. And remember, Arcadia's VF1S toys that they first came out with, that came with display stands, also came with water slide decals, so you could probably get something pretty similar with time and effort and ability to this with one of those releases. So that's another thing to consider. At the end of the day, this does create a new high watermark for VF1 toys. This is the best available, so if you want a Hikaru or a Roy, which is the next in line to get the premium treatment, you can keep a lookout for those premium releases. Otherwise, the regular release toy is also very good still. Every year we go by, it's more likely that someone's going to take a stab at a new VF1 toy, so it's also worth keeping in mind how long you're going to get utility out of that extra money you spend. All right, thanks for checking out my review. Check out anymoon.com for my full article, and as always, thanks for watching.